without God, that we would not be here. Amen? Amen. Well, it is an honor. This time has come. It's time for the message. And it's time for the messenger. Amen? And at this time, I'm going to introduce the son and introduce the others. You would have to be living under a rock somewhere to not know who Reverend Al Sharpton is. And so, I'm truly honored to work with such a network nationally that continues to push for the equality and the rights of others and be a voice for the voiceless. And that is what our leader is. Reverend Al Sharpton is the founder and president of the National Action Network 1991. He is the host of MSNBC's Politics Nation, and he has stayed consistently on the front lines. So I introduced to some and introduced to others our leader, my leader, National Founder and President, Reverend Al Sharpton. Let's give him a hand as he comes.
Thank you. Thank you very much to Reverend Shane Harris and to my friend and someone I've admired and respected a long time, Bishop McKinney. Give him a big hand. To one of our nation's great labor leaders, from AFSCME, Brother Doug Moore. Come on, y'all can do better. And certainly one of the giants in civil rights today, who is the director of West Coast National Action Network, and certainly doing a wonderful job all over the country, but based out of the LA office and his own church as well, Reverend K.W. Tooley. Let me say this at the outset. I want the people in San Diego, as well as the media, to know that one of the things that makes anything strong is its continuity. If you don't build something that will last, it has no meaning. And some of us try and act as though the world started with us and ends with us. There was a whole lot of world before you got here. And there's going to be a whole lot after you're gone. And one of the things that I'm very cognizant of is that I've been in civil rights all my life, been out here a long time. And I have always seen, Bishop, where we've had to fight to get our space. I was younger, coming up, everybody fighting to get their space. And I promised God if I ever got in position, they would not have to fight the younger folk. Because I believe it's our duty to position them for leadership as we go on. So make no mistake about it. I want it clear to everybody. I've got to be in LA tonight and do my TV show in the morning, preach at 2 churches, and then lead the protest out in front of the Oscars. But so I have a full day tomorrow. I got a 2-hour ride back to LA. The reason I'm here tonight is I want everybody to know without any fear that our man and my son in San Diego is Reverend Shane Harris. And anybody messing with Shane is messing with Sharpton. I know what it is to be young and on fire for social justice. And a lot of folk whose flames has flickered get upset when somebody's flame is still full blown. The movement is bigger than any one of us. Not how long you served, it's how strong you are now. And this young man has the passion and the fire, and I wanted to be here tonight for him and with him. And he is something that we have a lot of promise in. Reverend Tulis, who's also a young man, calls me at least once or twice a week and telling me what's going on the West Coast. I always ask him, well, how's Shane doing? Because Shane reminds me of me. Shane always got something going. Tonight, several things that are happening. I'm going to touch on briefly and let Shane come back, but we are in the middle of a serious time, Doug. What is going on is not just an election. We are in the middle of people attempting to change and reverse everything that has been achieved in this country for the last half century. They tried to reduce this to some reality TV politics. But you need to be very clear that when you are in a time in which elected U.S. senators say the President of the United States can appoint a Supreme Court justice to a vacant seat, you are in the middle of a constitutional crisis. Ever since this president has been in office, they tried to act as though he wasn't the real president. First they said he wasn't born here, birthed. Then they said this, then they said that. Now they're trying to act like his term is over and wait till the next president to appoint a new Supreme Court justice. President Barack Obama is the president until January 20th, 2017. And he should and must serve every day. But what they're trying to do, if you study history, I remember when I was 13, I became youth director of Operation Breadbasket, the year Dr. King was killed. And that year, there was turmoil all over the country. There was disarray. And what they did was pit us all against each other. They had black leaders fighting each other. They had the nonviolent folk fighting the black power advocates. They had labor fighting each other. And in the disarray, they went and elected a conservative to reverse everything that had been achieved in the 60s. They were able to take a man who lost for president, came back here to California and lost for governor, and in our infighting, they elected him president named Richard Nixon. Nixon's job was to finish what Goldwater started, and that is to try to reverse the Civil Rights Act, reverse the Voting Rights Act, reverse the Open Housing Act, target target with COINTELPRO Black Power advocates, break up labor, and have right-to-work laws. And Nixon started moving toward that. Got reelected in '72 with the widest margin that we've seen, and Eddie not got caught creeping. He would have finished it, but they caught him creeping. Cheating and creeping. Run him out of office, which put Carter in for a few years. And what did they do? They went and got a Hollywood-produced politician, an actor, named Ronald Reagan. And Ronald Reagan started a movement around the same thing about breaking up labor, taking back what blacks had gotten, putting folk in jail on no charges, and immigration became the profiling of that time. And they went from Reagan to Bush, triangulation, then Bush Jr. And then we upset it all, elected Obama. So what have they done now? They've gone to the same playbook they did in the Reagan time. They went and got a reality TV star. Named Donald Trump. Trump is a 21st century knockoff version of Ronald Reagan. He don't even fill out the whole policy. Just castigate immigrants. Just castigate labor. Just profile everybody. And the reason he is picking up support is because he is trying to say to people he is personifying their anger. But what are they angry at? They're angry at their way of life they say has not advanced. But who broke the economy is the conservatives that they represent. If you mad, you ought to be mad at the folk that almost brought us into a depression. You ought to be angry at Bush, who was losing 800,000 jobs a month. Not mad at the one that took us out of the recession. So they use race, and they use division, and they use the illusion of supremacy. And we cannot be divided and play off like that. They've already taken out a main section of the Voting Rights Act. So even today in South Carolina, they had the primary, they had the voter ID that they had to deal with. They have impediments all over the country. We have got to organize like we've never organized before. Because these people are not playing. This is not a game. They are serious about reversing these times. When you can see people shot down unarmed by police on video, and they tell you don't believe your own eyes. Don't believe what you see. When you can see people run a billionaire with a private 747 jet, and they act like there's something wrong with us when we demand just a $15 an hour minimum wage. When you can look in the entertainment world, one of the reasons that we rally in the mall, Shane has a bus coming from here, one of the reasons we rally in the mall is anytime you can have the cultural picture of America, which is the Academy Awards, where for the second straight year, the top 20 awards, no blacks, no Latinos nominated. Now you had Straight Outta Compton, you had Idris Elba, you had Concussion, you had good film. None of them nominated. Because what they're trying to do is have the ethnic cleansing as the perception of what America is. And there's a straight line and connection between the conservatism of Trump and what is going on at the Academy Awards tomorrow. The bad part about it is that we're subsidizing. Over 40% of the folk buy movie tickets is us. They're looking for us to watch it on television. So the reason National Action Network has said don't watch it is for every rating they get, they use that to get advertising. So it's one thing to exclude me, is another thing for me to pay for it. Well, if I'm not good enough to be nominated, it's not good enough to be on my TV. Fortunately, we're running out. Are you asking Chris Rock and them not to go? No, let them do their job. But they're going to be giving out awards to whites all night long. We don't need to be the ones that have to give folks something that we can't earn and we're going to subsidize. But we need to analyze everything in American life now and not participate in anything that insults and offends us. So my challenge to you, as we fight nationally on the Oscars all the way to the $15 an hour minimum wage, all the way to police reform, all the way to dealing with the rights of everybody, including immigrants, including lesbians, gays, everybody got a right. You can't fight for no one's civil rights unless you fight for everyone's civil rights. You cannot segregate fight and say I want my rights and I don't want others. And it don't make me less of who I am to coalesce with others. I'm a proud black man, and I don't lose that walking with my Latino brothers and sisters all